Yeah, and Salua, when you say that you serve women in transition, what kind of transition are we talking about most often? There's identity, relationships, career, motherhood, and health. I mean, there's so many different types of transition. What is it that you notice that they're carrying silently? Just,
Yeah,
mm,
beautiful. Yes, so we all go through various transitions, and
mm.
you mentioned several of them, like the transition to motherhood, and for women that can change so much after having a baby. Like when I had my first daughter, um, my definition of success changed, what matters changed for me, what brings joy and peace change, the priorities can shift.
And the key thing that I picked up on is when you said that if women don't feel safe, it can be challenging to go through that transition. Do you see a commonality amongst women as they're going through the transition of what they might do when they don't feel that safety?
Absolutely. I mean, when the the body identifies something is not safe, the nervous system takes over and you stay stuck. So the brain is designed for our own survival. So if something is so change could be detected by the brain as unsafe, and therefore the person can come up with all the reasons not to create change and stay in the comfort zone.
Hello, and welcome back to the Healing You Method podcast. I'm Gloria Lybecker, and I'm here with my delightful friend and co-host, Gail Donahue. Our show is really about having conversations and integrating that information and having really grounded truth that we get to share around how important it is that all healing is relational.
And today we're joined by Salua Lahlu, who supports women in transition and brings a distinct approach called Three Brains Alignment plus Embodiment. This Salua's work helps women to reconnect their soul, rewire the mind, heal the heart, and take aligned action that's suitable. Salua, we're so happy you're here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah, and Salua, when you say that you serve women in transition, what kind of transition are we talking about most often? There's identity, relationships, career, motherhood, and health. I mean, there's so many different types of transition. What is it that you notice that they're carrying silently? Just,
Yeah,
mm,
beautiful. Yes, so we all go through various transitions, and
mm.
you mentioned several of them, like the transition to motherhood, and for women that can change so much after having a baby. Like when I had my first daughter, um, my definition of success changed, what matters changed for me, what brings joy and peace change, the priorities can shift. Also, when I left corporate and now lead in my retreat center and full-time coaching, that changed a lot. And that could be a transition where we grow up identifying ourselves as someone, and where we feel a disconnect because our soul evolves and it pulls us forward to self-actualize the next version of it. And then we're in this space where we don't have yet clarity about
Mm.
what's next. And a lot of women that I work with have followed the traditional, you know, understanding of success.
Yeah.
That was me. I understood success as go to the best schools, work for the best companies, climb the corporate ladder, and that's how life evolves, and that's called success. But the soul has its own agenda, and
Mm.
people feel something within themselves, that there's unease, that it's not a full expression of who they are, but they don't know yet what that is. So I
Mhm.
help them identify what that is and help
Mm.
guide them back to the truth and help them find peace with letting go of the old self, because there is also grief that comes. So you mentioned what's happening internally. There is so much. There is a lack of clarity about what's next. There is attachment to the old identity because that's what the brain identifies as safe to hold on to. There's grief comes with letting go of the old self and be open to embrace it. So there's a lot that happens internally as we reconstruct identity, right? And we know that true change happens when there is identity change that can hold the next version of the self. Um,
Mhm.
so there's a lot happening in there in that introductory, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's in
there
anyone
is.
who feels there is a need to evolve and change, whether it's corporate or business. Even I have business women who still need support into clarifying the next vision. There's so much that changes in our world too that we need to adapt to it, and they need support in like what is the next
Yeah,
version of us. Mhm.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So that's so interesting, Salua. And I was curious when you described the different roles that women can be in, and then have the transition. Um, and the key thing that I picked up on is when you said that if women don't feel safe, it can be challenging to go through that transition. Do you see a commonality amongst women as they're going through the transition of what they might do when they don't feel that safety?
Absolutely. I mean, when the the body identifies something is not safe, the nervous system takes over and you stay stuck. So some women that I work with kind of have an idea about what to do next. And they know they have other passions that haven't been expressed and other dreams, but they're not getting, when I need them, they're not getting the support they need so that they can regulate their nervous system and realize this is how the brain works. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel what I'm feeling and have the skills needed to regulate the nervous system so they can take steps despite the fear, despite that, to be able to handle more change.
Mm.
So the brain is designed for our own survival. So if something is, so change could be detected by the brain as unsafe. And therefore, the person can come up with all the reasons not to create change and stay in the comfort zone. So when when I work with women and I help them realize this is how the brain works, this is what to do to regulate your nervous system, this is what to do when these feelings happen, and I have I create container for them to support them in processing, in connecting with a community that is going through a transition, so they don't feel they're alone. So all of the emotional part of the journey cannot be underestimated. Like, it's not that
Oh,
we don't know what to do, it's our nervous system that needs to be regulated for us to act upon what we know
right.
done.
Well, one of the things I think would be helpful for our listeners to be able to resonate with is to be able to recognize how does that show up in our day-to-day life when this emotion or this quote stuckness is happening. How's it showing up in the patterns of my life? What are some of those things we can begin to notice about what we're doing or what we're thinking or saying? Or do you see patterns in that when women are in that transitional place? What is it they're doing that shows them they're stuck?
Yeah, so we need to become more aware. So if we have about 60,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are repetitive, and 85% of them are negative. So if you want to create a change, you need to start becoming, I'm like barely conscious. So the first thing is to start observing the self,
Mm.
to become aware of the thoughts that we are thinking. And in order for us to create, so that we can create a new awareness, so that we can create change. No one would know the self better than the self. So first step is to start to become aware and not be judgmental and to block that. So be able to and this is where I guide them in terms of how to start their day, how to end their day, how to reflect. Basically, I help them study themselves. We're learned to read all the books in the world, but we're not learned to study ourselves, study our
True.
thoughts, study our habits.
Yeah.
So from the moment we wake up, or like, I went unconscious during these few hours. Let me pause and come back to center and breathe and choosing the thoughts. I think so many women, so many of us forget that we have the power of choice. We have the power to choose our thoughts. We have the power to choose our feelings. We have the power to choose our action. And we end up living in this reactive mode. We're just waiting and hoping that nothing is gonna come at us, so we're not gonna react. So studying, increasing awareness, I would say, is the first step to creating a change, because you want to know where you are and you want to know where you want to head and see the gap, and then develop a personalized strategy for you for that gap.
So one thing that I'm identifying with is, your when you've been talking about the corporate world and being in business and that hustle and that, drive that you've got to, go after the next thing, or you just have to constantly prove that you're doing more and more and more and more, that just hustle. And that seems to be that here in our culture. And so what do you wish that people would understand instead of getting on that treadmill, especially women as leaders? What would you wish that they would have as in their mind of accessing?
Yeah, so I believe that our soul is designed to self-actualize. So whether we go towards it or it forces us, and it's best that it doesn't force us. So for example, for me, I was in that hustle culture and I was traveling everywhere as a consultant and I was leading a nonprofit. Then I had two heartbreaking miscarriages, and the second miscarriage happened while I was running STEM summer camps in Morocco, where I'm originally from. So I was so used to the hustle culture that I don't even realize there's a difference of me pregnant or not pregnant, or like, till I find myself at the hospital and I lost so much blood that it was life-threatening. And that was a wake-up call. And so many of us wait until there is a huge wake-up call for us to start evaluating, what did I do wrong? And for me, that was my wake-up call. When I had the second miscarriage and I'm staring in the hospital ceiling, like just wondering what got me there. And my body is designed to be a partner for me in life. And so many women, gave birth before me. And so I realized, what did I do? And that's when I started evaluating my lifestyle and started evaluating my priorities and started listening to my body. I had a large cyst that is the size of a grapefruit that the doctors told me it's pushing against your uterus and that's what's causing your miscarriages. And then, let's have another surgery. And that was a moment where I said, I can't keep listening to the outside noise. So I told the doctors, thank you. And a voice within me told me that I needed to listen. So I sat for 5 weeks just talking to my body in meditation, in visualization, started learning about the power of nutrition and food and healing. And within 5 weeks, I went back and there was no sign of cyst. And that was the start point of, oh my God, I can be my own healer. Oh, I have power that I never used. Oh, so yes, I wish it didn't happen in like, I wish I just went to transformation and said like, okay, I want to just listen, and like, I want to just, I feel this push and I just want to change. But it was this big thing that just like shaked me. And then from there, I started to listen. And from there, I started to trust and think, okay, how can I go to change versus change being forced on me in the most unexpected way? So, and that's when I started designing life differently, and started building the exits from the corporate world more strategically. So instead of, as you probably know now, with the AI and the shift, there's huge shifts in the corporate and how businesses are run and jobs and the definition of the future and the opportunities and, so, but at that time, I started realizing that I needed to start listening to my soul more and start embracing change before life throws at me something huge. So,
Yes. So I want to catch this here. So I'm going to pause it just for a moment because this is really a key piece that I've noticed in my life, and I want you to be able to highlight this for women everywhere.
yeah,
Just because something that was so deeply grieving, the loss of two young ones, it's like, and that there was this inability in the moment to notice what you didn't notice. You didn't know what you didn't know. And yet, when you did hear that inner voice, you took the time to listen deeply. When it had your attention, when you noticed, you took action right there. So it's not about making that you were, because the soul will evolve.
yeah.
It's not bad that this happened, but it's not good or bad. Can you speak to that? Because there's such a tendency for women to just berate themselves that they didn't do it sooner or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So life is about the balance of surrender and taking
Mm.
action. And it's so important to realize that difference.
Yeah.
And yes, and there's also a gift in everything. So there was so much gift
Mm.
in my miscarriages. And now I am a mother of this beautiful 4-year-old daughter. And yeah, it's there is an extra joy and extra. I know her value so much because it's the
Mm.
path I went through. Um, Not that we need to know pain to know that, but it tends to be like without the other, we don't appreciate as much, the opposite. So,
Mm.
um, yes, the like you mentioned, the soul will eventually evolve. That's how nature, that's how we're created. It keeps it pulling us forward so that we can express. But so many people die also without expressing their full expression or their soul or their calling. So
Yeah.
it's important to know that uh, the the next best thing is now. Like they say, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. It's the same thing for us. Yes, I might not have realized for me the lifestyle that I led and the impact of it on my health and all of that. But the moment I realized, I started to create change, and that's all that matters. So it's important not to lament on the past that, oh, I wish I have done this and that, because that doesn't change anything. But and also to realize that some people achieve certain things at 20, some other achieve it at 50. It's everyone is in their own path, and it's so important to
Mm.
embrace that and to say, okay,
Yeah.
my soul is unique, my path is unique, I am
Yeah.
unique. There isn't, like I mentioned, there isn't one definition of success in life. There
Right.
is your own definition of it. The same thing. There isn't one unique way of soul expression. There's your own unique soul expression and your own way and your own timeline. So, like I mentioned earlier, awareness of the self, knowing the self, and loving the self are such important foundations when you go on this path, so that you compete with you. you focus on you, you actualize you, you express you. And yeah, so many are just chasing belonging and acceptance, that they build this life so that they can be accepted. So
So Laura, I wanted to ask you because as you're explaining this and saying how important it is for our awareness and to know ourselves and then get that alignment. I mean, you took 5 weeks to really sit with yourself and learn about yourself and get that connection. Did you have anything else that you did to help support you to keep going? Like, was there a practice that you adopted? Oh, well, you did mention meditation, but was there community or faith or nature? I know that Gloria and I have shared how meaningful it's been for us to have community to be with and share. So I was just wondering if you also had access to something like this for yourself.
yeah, so the 5 weeks was just the starting point. Five, just to was just that moment when I realized, oh my God, I can shift and I can heal my body in such a short amount of time, and I can start claiming my power back. Then I started realizing all the pillars that are important to bring one into harmony. And that's when first it started with nature. I realized that my connection to earth and my connection to nature are so essential for me to come back to myself. And I realized also that being surrounded with like-minded people is so important. So I started joining masterminds and groups, and you know, like whether in the spirituality realm, I also started joining in the nutrition, and I became an integrative nutritionist, and I did yoga teacher training, and I studied with the shamans, and I went on various spiritual trips. And so it was long, it was a journey, because if we think about success for me, it's a holistic success. It's a healthy body. It's uh, you know, high vibration emotions of love and joy and gratitude. It's a connection to our soul, to our creator, to each other. It's the environment, the community, the friends, the family, the people that we grow with. It's the continuous growth and learning. It's the environment we surround ourselves with. So that's why I live now in nature, because so I started designing life, and we start one shift in one area, but it cascades in all the other areas. um, if you're familiar, I do an exercise with my clients about the wheel of life, when we look at life holistically and learn to design success holistically, not just focus on just one area. And so many people focus on success, let's say in the career path, and it comes
Mhm.
at the expense of health and relationships. Or
Right.
go, and then so many mothers also focus solely on their kids, that they forget themselves and they forget their passion and they forget everything else. So life is about how can you hold all the pieces together. And
Mhm.
success sometimes might be a harmony of all of them versus deep in one at the expense of the other.
Mhm.
So that journey is what kicks my journey into looking at how can I succeed in all life areas, not at the expense, not at the one at the expense of the others.
Yeah, I really love how you are using your own life journey because it is a journey.
It really is.
And I love how you are using that as an example very transparently and authentically around that pause that you had to bring the awareness to the forefront to where you could begin to recognize more choice in your life. And how that there is that, you said, the balance, and to recognize when that imbalance starts to come in and to pay attention and to really be there. Um,
And it's
so,
a continuous process. It's not like we ever arrive. There's
oh no,
always
it'll continue
level.
forever.
Exactly. And that's why the constant evaluation, I encourage the people I work with at least do it once every 6 months, where you're looking holistically at your life, evaluating, coming up. We do like
Mm,
90-day goals, 90-day plans, um, as part
mm,
of the Quantum Her journey that I take women through, we develop 90 days at a time to focus on who we want to be 90 days at a time. So it becomes like a continuous process. We don't just wait someday we're going to arrive. We enjoy the journey along the way,
Mhm.
embrace the fact that we continuously evolve. My view of my life and balance continuously evolves as well. So it's a
Mhm.
journey for sure.
Yeah, I know in my practice, I will use that as an opportunity to slow down and to recognize true appreciation, which you even recognized at the beginning of your journey. The gifts that are coming to you in the now as you're on your journey, and you can actually look back and see how far you've come rather than judging yourself by, oh, I still have that far to go. It's like,
Yes.
how do you come into an aligned perspective by presence? That's what I'm hearing is coming in
Yeah,
within.
it's yeah, we when we fall into the trap of comparison when we don't know ourselves and we don't love ourselves. But once we know the gift of who we are, we start seeing that, and that's why the inner child work, and that's why the self-love work and self-worth work are so essential, um,
Mhm.
and foundational, because they help shift everything. You become
Mhm.
happy for anyone who achieves all that they achieve, and then you honor your own journey, and you look at the self with that lens, because that is the it's much easier to create from high level emotions of love and joy to the self than trying to push yourself. How did I not achieve that? And you're killing yourself,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's one thing I encourage everyone and
Well,
myself.
I have a burning question that I want to
Yeah,
pop
go
in to
ahead.
ask you right now, because you mentioned before, a few minutes ago about um, us learning to love ourselves, and I've heard you mention that Ram Dass saying, "I love my pain because I am love." So, how does that land in your body, and could you help our listeners understand? How do you get yourself grounded in that way?
Yeah, wow. Yes, so I met Ram Dass after my first miscarriage in Maui, and I was in deep pain, and I thought, okay, maybe he has an answer for me. And obviously, he saw that I was in deep pain. And I sat with him, we were about to have dinner, and I asked him, can you share with me a piece of wisdom? And he said, I love my pain. And he paused. And I felt like I just wanted the earth to swallow me, because
Mm.
I am in deep pain. How could that's so cruel? And then he looked at me and then he said, because I am love. And that, and I didn't understand it at that moment, but
Mm.
it stayed with me. Um, and to later realize so many aspects of it. First, the power of identity, to say I am love, right? We
Mm,
identify ourselves with something, we hold on to it. So that the transformation and the power that happens when we see ourselves as
mm,
love, as power, as soul, as courage.
yeah,
And then the second is duality and accepting life. You can't, it's like everything day and night. There's duality is in every part of creation and of life and of existence. And the ability to embrace duality and accept all is what gives us freedom. So
mm,
uh, the ability to love the pain and love and the joy and the ease and all of that at the same time makes you outside of things, and that's the power of not being able to, it's like being neutral and being able to embrace all and know there is benefit in all that happens. Life is happening for me all the time, even in
mm,
Mhm.
pain it's happening for me. um, So once I started truly embodying that, I could be in a painful situation, but I'm not really in pain. I'm just allowing the emotion to flow through. It's a very different
Mm,
experience because you're not drawn by it. It's like you're there. If you think about the river, and the river of emotions is passing, and you're like on a bridge overlooking in the emotion, not drowning
mm,
in the river of it.
yeah.
And that gives such a beautiful freedom, because now you're just existing as a soul, experiencing and learning and growing. And when you know yourself as soul, it gives you the freedom, because it's just the body was going through the pain. But
Mm,
for me, the first value that I say, and it's a song that I created, Gloria, it's called I Am Soul. And I listen to it, and it helps me see that I am soul. Whatever experience I'm going through in life is transient. And if the body is experiencing something, it's just the emotion, is let it pass through and transmute it. Um, so yeah, it's one
Well,
sentence, I am love, but there's so many layers of it that I keep uncovering as I go through.
yeah. And
well,
it's interesting because when you first said about I am I am love, how that was you mentioned that it was challenging for you. And when you said that, I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, I think I could say that too for myself to be like to really believe that because I know for a lot of people it's even challenging to believe even that we can be something even less than love because we're thinking we're not worthy or we're not good enough. So yeah, I could see how being able to step into that would be so beautiful and provide you with so much I don't know, like strength and resource. And I love your
mhm,
explanation about non-duality. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and
Well,
when
I
you
want to chime in. I want to chime in there too with the analogy that you gave of being on a bridge with the river moving through
Mm,
and witnessing. So it's that love, the compassionate witness of life, of the body, of the vehicle of life, and recognizing that it's an invitation to that deeper work that you also speak of the journey to know thyself.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and that it's an
Yeah.
experience. And when are able to journey in community, you're no longer alone. And so many of us, or women particularly, feel alone. And
I,
so really that invitation to allow yourself to be accompanied. You have that trust path. Maybe this fits in there a little bit. Want to share that? Is it?
yeah, yeah. So each of us feel there is something within us that is partnering with us on this life.
Mm-hmm.
And once we start connecting with it and listening to it more, we start building this trust. And it's that's the journey within, that no one can do for us but us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
Yeah.
you can call it, yeah, connection to source, to God, the spirit, the breath. um, we all have that compass within ourselves that
Mm,
is guiding us, that has the answers. And um, we are so conditioned to look at answers outside ourselves. So coming back, when I work with women, is they realize, oh my God, I have all the answers within me. I have all the power within me. So it's like a muscle you cultivate
mhm.
to start listening more and trusting more. Just like
Yeah.
how we cultivate muscle when we go to the gym, we practice. It's the same thing. To grow spiritually is a practice, and it starts by listening. And life will be that partner. Like for me, that was the initial win of melting my cysts just through the connection to source, and was like, "Oh, I can do it." Then I was able, and then the doctor told me IVF, and I'm like, I think I'm just gonna. And I got pregnant right after and gave birth naturally, and like, so the more we take steps and then like have these wins, and then we start building the muscle. Oh my God, I have this connection. It exists. It's there. It's mine too. Not just some people out there. We all have it, and we just don't connect with it. So trust is built through self-knowledge and through taking action and through surrender as well. And life is a process of co-creation with the divine and allowing oneself to co-create with the divine. And then you do it once and you continue to do it. Definitely you might get tested along the way, and you might seem that I didn't get the thing I want right at the time when I wanted. So there's maybe another lesson of surrender. And so there is, just like I mentioned, the duality. There's the surrender and embrace along the way that makes the journey exciting.
Yeah.
Well, and you
Mind driven. That's when my
right.
brain's approach comes in, because the mind can become the strategy, and this is all the steps we take. But then the heart is that source of to that connection to source, to God, to creation, that can come in to build the trust, and then the intuition that we have in our guts that can guide us. His the next step, another next step. Apologies. Oh, sorry about that.
Well,
that gave us an opportunity. I'd love to just acknowledge the framework that you have built. You're talking about this muscle that you've learned to build from the inside out of trust. And through that journey, you have also created a framework to accompany others, that dream method. So I wonder, maybe just speak a little bit about that while we have you here with us.
Yes. So when I was reviewing my life, I realized that I was leading from the head, and I was disconnected from my body. And then when I paused and started listening to my body, I realized, oh my God, I have this incredible partner in this journey of life that I haven't partnered with as well. So this is where I started listening and connecting to my intuition and connected to my feelings. And so many of us are not even well equipped to express the feelings at depth. So many people are like, how are you? Good, bad? Like,
one word, the usual words.
The emotional vocabulary is limited. So I was very head driven. And this journey made me realize the importance of connecting. So this is when I started studying, and also when I started studying nutrition and realized this gut as the second brain, and the connection of the gut to mental health, and to, so many people heal themselves from depression by just changing their nutrition and food, and also studying that there is 80% of the communication, like, if you think of a highway, there's more signals from the heart to the brain, from the brain to the heart. So I started realizing the power of my heart and the power of my guts and the power of my intuition, and how I also been studying authenticity and what does it mean to be authentic in life, and that alignment of when we act, when our thoughts and feelings and actions in life are in accord, in alignment. And so many people who are stuck, they're stuck because they're thinking, oh, this job is really good, it gives me a great income, but the heart is feeling something else that they want to do towards their passion. The intuition is guiding them somewhere else, and they have these internal war within themselves, and they're not able to get unstuck. And that's the beauty of the intelligence of the body. It communicates so that it brings you back into alignment. And that's exactly what I work with people on, realizing how to get the thoughts and the feelings and the action in life in alignment so that they find inner peace, and that reflects in their creation. And that's how I created the dream method. The dream method, D, stands for discovering the true self. So we talked about the starting point. The starting point is, for me, is the soul, is the purpose, it's knowing the self, it's knowing the mission of that soul on earth. Each one of us is like a piece of the puzzle and is here on planet Earth for a specific goal. And before we even move into creation or what we want to do, why don't we start with knowing ourselves deeper and knowing our soul and knowing our purpose? And from there, the art is rewiring the mind. So many of us are conditioned from society, from education, from environment. So becoming aware of what are these limiting beliefs, and I spent years studying women's specific limiting beliefs. So rewiring the mind, then embracing the heart and expanding the heart. We talked about the emotional vocabulary, being able to connect to the heart, to understand the feelings, that communication, and be able to calm the nervous system, being able to generate high emotions, right? We're not just reacting in life. We are creators of thoughts, creators of feelings, creators of actions. A lot of us lose that power of creating. And then the A is we're taking that aligned action, right? So now that you understand your purpose deeper and you're cultivating a growth mindset and positive mindset and you're connected with your heart, you start taking aligned action. And then the M is mastering that soul expression, right? That's the gift we give to the world. And that's the dream journey that one can take for moving from where they are to what I call the quantum self. And that's why I created the Quantum Heart platform, to help guide every step in that journey.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful. And I've gotten to have a peek at that. And I highly recommend people reaching out to Salua and learning more about this. It really is a dream. It's a dream come true for many that you're willing to share your journey so openly and with such heart. It truly is.
Life, at the core of us all, like just Ramdas said, I am love. So if we all just connect deeper to that love and share it with the world, I feel like that's how, peace will be in the world, and where we all self-actualize and make the world a better place.
That sounds like I want to check with you, but it sounds like that's a beautiful message as a one sentence anchor to leave our listeners with in the closing. Would that be what you would have as your one sentence to share with everyone as an anchor?
Yeah, so I built Munaya Resorts, and Munaya stands for my dream. And that's what I believe. I believe dreams are how God communicates to us about our mission on earth. So I invite everyone to listen to that dream and to honor that dream and to love that dream, and to work towards getting that dream into the world. Because if, that's the gift that they will give to the world, and that they have all that they need within themselves to make it happen. They just need to take the step to join the community, to be willing to know and love who they truly are.
Yes. And how would our listeners reach out to you? How can they find out more about you?
Yeah, so my website, salualahlu.com. I'm also on social media. And that's where I share all the latest masterclasses and how they can join the Quantum Her community, and on LinkedIn as well.
Oh, wonderful. So, Salua, thank you for your honesty and the heart you bring to this work. And we'll make sure that we'll have everything linked in the show notes of what you
Yes.
provided.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure and honor to speak to both of you today. Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you.
So, to our listeners, if this conversation supported you, we would love if you would follow the show, leave a review, or share it with someone who's in a tender season of transition.
And before we close, we want to invite you into our next episode on the Healing You Method podcast, where we'll be joined by Depti Kothari Jan for a beautiful conversation about confidence, voice, and learning how to respond in uncertain moments.
Yes, Dipti brings a powerful perspective on impromptu speaking as a pathway to self-trust, presence, and real life confidence. It's not perfection, but the ability to meet the moment as you are.
It's a grounded and inspiring conversation, and we can't wait to share it with you.
So until then, take gentle care of yourself, and remember that all healing is relational.